This certification has ranked among the highest paying IT certifications in the world for years, but that's not why I recommend it. I recommend it because it's the certification that taught me how to think, not just what buttons to click in the cloud console. This is the Google Professional Cloud Architect. Welcome back to the certification series. Today we are talking about a big one, maybe the big one for me personally, because Google Cloud is my home platform. I did the Professional Cloud Architect because, as a consultant or as a data engineer, as a cloud architect, my job isn't really build pipelines. My job is a client describes a business problem and I have to design a solution that's secure, reliable, scalable, and doesn't bankrupt them as well. So we really need to be careful about cost because it's a big challenge in the cloud. That's architecture. And this exam tests exactly that skill, better than any other certification I have done. So what is it? In simple words, this certification proves you can take business requirements and turn them into a complete solution design on Google Cloud. Notice the phrase business requirements. This is not a trivia exam about services. The question sounds like this. A company needs to migrate a legacy system. They have compliance requirements, a limited budget, and traffic that spikes on weekends. What do you recommend? So you see, it's not which service is the correct one. This is not a beginner level. It asks you based on a real world scenario, like real problems that companies face on a daily basis. Now, to answer, you need to juggle trade-offs, cost versus performance, security versus speed of delivery, reliability versus complexity. Google has organized all of this into their well-architected framework. Pillars like operational excellence, security, reliability, performance, and cost optimization. And that framework runs through the entire exam. When we are doing these kind of certifications, they teach us how to deal with the platforms, what are the best practices to work in these kind of platforms. This exam is the purest example of it. So the Cloud Architect certificate teaches you how to pick the right solution, the right service for a specific problem. Let's talk about the details. Based on the latest official information I found, the exam is 2 hours with 50 to 60 questions, multiple choices, and multiple select. It costs $200 plus tax. And you can take it remotely or at a test center. The result is simply pass or fail. Google doesn't publish a passing score. You just go and do your best and hopefully you'll succeed. Now the special part, case studies. Google publishes company scenarios in advance on the certification page, and 20 to 30% of your exam questions are based on them. I'll put the link in the description. If you walk in without knowing the case studies, you are voluntarily giving away points, because when you study these case studies, they will show up in the exam and you already know them, so you don't really need to read the case study because you already read it, right? That means you just jump into the questions and start answering the questions. The certification is valid for 2 years. Within 60 days of expiry, you can take a shorter renewal exam. And if you fail the standard exam, the retake ladder is 14 days, then 60 days, then a full year with a maximum of 4 attempts in 2 years. One more thing, Google is updating this exam as their AI products get renamed and reorganized. So always download the current exam guide before studying. Let's explore what's on it and what are the domains that they are going to be in the exam. We have 6 domains. Let's explore them together. The first one, which is designing and planning the architecture. So given business and technical requirements, pick the right compute, storage, network, and data services. This is the biggest domain and it assumes you know the core GCP services. Compute engine, Kubernetes engine, Cloud Run, Cloud Storage, BigQuery, Cloud SQL, Spanner, PubSub, VPCs, load balancers, etc. That's the first domain. The second domain, managing and provisioning the infrastructure. For example, networking topologies, hybrid connectivity, infrastructure as code. Third domain, security and compliance, identity and access management done properly, roles, service accounts, least privilege, plus encryption. We have network security and regulatory thinking. Security shows up everywhere, not just in its own domain. Third domain number 4, analyzing and optimizing technical and business processes. This is the consultant domain. cost optimization, release engineering, business continuity. Domain number 5, managing implementation, how teams actually deploy and interact with the platform. And domain number 6 is ensuring reliability, monitoring, logging, incident thinking, designing for failure. On top of all that, I expect general architecture concepts like migration strategies like lift and shift versus replatforming, deploy strategies like blue-green and canary, and increasingly AI-related design questions around Google's AI stack. It's wide, that's the point. Architects are paid for breadth plus judgment. Let's talk about the biggest lessons. So the challenges. When I prepared for this exam, something clicked. I stopped seeing GCP as a catalog of services and started seeing it as a set of answers to business problems. Every question forced the same discipline. What does the business need? What are the constraints? Then and only then, which service? This exam made every other platform easier too. Because once you can architect on one cloud, once you understand the trade-offs between managed and self-hosted, between regional and global, between cost and resilience, so the trade-offs exist everywhere. And if you have watched my videos before, I already mentioned that if you're already familiar with one cloud, it becomes much easier for you to study another cloud platform. And the reason behind that is because of this particular certification. For me, the biggest value is when you can explain not just what to build, but why. Why this is the most cost-effective option. Why this meets the compliance requirements. This certification trained that muscle because it's not deeply technical, but it's architecture. You need to be technically strong to judge, right? To pick the right service at the right scenario, the right situation. What surprised me about this certification? First, knowing services is not enough. I have seen strong engineers fail this exam, not because they didn't know GCP, but because they answered like engineers instead of architects. So the exam rewards the best answers for the business, and often several answers technically work. I have faced many questions when I look into the options that I have. All of them actually are excellent. I can pick wherever. Then in that regard, if you have that feeling, you need to read the question again, because you are missing one thing. You are missing one differentiator, one point that will differentiate all of this. There is one option which consider the best because it's tailored to this particular scenario. Second is how much reading the exam involves. The scenario questions are long. 2 hours sounds like a lot. It isn't, it just goes like this. So time management is a real skill here. You need to be very fast. If you have very short questions, don't think a lot. Try to move fast. Try to get as much as you can. And the third one, the case studies are a gift that most people don't open. Don't go to the exam before reading these case studies, okay? I will put the link in the description for the guide and the link of all the case studies. Read them, go through them, discuss with AI to solve the use cases, and it will be much easier for you during the exam. So let's talk about the difficulty. Of course, the difficulty is advanced and architecture heavy. So Google recommends 3+ years of industry experience, including at least a year on Google Cloud Platform. I mean, to be honest, I have seen people taking this certification without real experience. As long as they study very well and understand the services, understand the problems behind these services. This is very important. If you have this knowledge, that means you have the experience. But of course, it will be much easier for you if you already have the experience. But it's not a must. If you don't have that experience, you feel you are ready, you already studied very well, I would say go for it. Now the question is, who should take it? Engineers moving towards senior or lead roles. So this is the credentials that signals design ability, not just delivery. Also consultants, huge yes. If you are interested, you can take this one. It's going to help you a lot. As a data engineer as well, who want to level up, because in real projects, your pipeline lives inside a bigger architecture. And understanding that architecture makes you dramatically more valuable. And of course, for engineers on other clouds who want to cross over into GCP at a senior level. Now, who should skip it for now? Beginners, you don't need to start here, right? Because you really need to understand all the basics before jumping into this one. Start with the fundamentals or associate certificates, and after some time you can come back. Depends on your experience, then you can go for it. this exam will still be here and you will actually enjoy it with experience behind you. Let's talk about the preparation strategy and my preparation roadmap. Step 1, download the official exam guide and the case studies from day 1, right? The earlier the better. Step 2, follow the official learning path on Google Cloud Skills Boost and do the hands-on labs. Step 3, study the well-architected framework. It's very beneficial. You can check it up. I will put the link in the description as well. Step number 4, for every major service, learn its decision boundaries, when Cloud SQL versus Spanner, when a Cloud Run versus Kubernetes Engine, when pops up versus something else. So this exam lives on those boundaries. Step number 5, practice exams under timed conditions. For every question you miss, write down which requirement you ignored. That's almost always the real mistake. The mistake many people make is memorizing services instead of practicing decisions. This exam doesn't ask what a service is, it asks what you would do. My 2 rules to achieve any certificate is the following. Rule number 1, speed is key, right? This exam is comprehensive. It tests things you don't use in your daily work, no matter how experienced you are. And that unfamiliar material is exactly what your brain forgets first. So try to refresh your memory, study fast, especially the week before the exam. Speed up the process, go through all the services as much as you can, and review your notes if you have written any notes during the study. I highly recommend that you write some notes while you are studying so you can review them before the exam. And rule number 2, of course, this is the real secret: book the exam before you feel ready. You can book it in advance. It depends on your experience. For example, next month, next 2 months, next 3 months. As long as you book it, your mindset will shift and you will think differently. It will give you a sense of urgency and you will start taking it seriously. You will not skip it. It will be part of your daily schedule and it increases the likelihood of achieving the certification and taking the exam. If you don't book it, most likely next week or next 3 days, you will forget it. So I highly recommend that you book the exam now, even if you feel you are not ready. This is extremely helpful and I used it across all my certifications. I always book before I'm ready. And once you book the exam, you will figure it out, don't worry. So now the question is the professional cloud architect worth it? So for the right person, this is the most valuable certification in this entire playlist. Not because of the badge, but because preparing for it changes how you think. It turns tool users into solution designers, and solution designers are the ones who get the senior roles, the consulting gigs, and the trust. So basically, you can take it now if you have real cloud experience and you are ready to move from building to designing. The exam guide, the case studies, the learning path, and everything I used are in the description. Next up in the playlist, the exam many people call the hardest one on my list. Subscribe so you don't miss it. I will see you there.